Digital transformation continues to accelerate, yet most companies still struggle to achieve success. What sets the leaders of successful companies apart? In this podcast, top business leaders share what their goals are, why they're successful, and how they drive effective digital initiatives for their companies and for their customers. Welcome to the Walk Me podcast. This is Digital Adoption. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Our guest today is someone I've been personally really excited to speak to. We have Harry Mosley with us, the CIO at Zoom. Hi, Harry. I'm going to intro by saying that Zoom has definitely played a central role in the human experience of Corona, both on a business level and a personal level. So if you can just dive in and give us a little bit of insight, what has it been like being part of Zoom through this last year? I would love to hear it.
It's all rather fascinating. The way so the way I characterize it would be as follows. It's like so just as a background, I retired from KPMG in December of 2017, and then shortly afterwards, I was called by Zoom and asked to join them as their global CIO, and said I retired and didn't want to work, but that obviously changed over the period of weeks. So I joined Zoom in March of 2018, and at that time we were north of 800 employees. I know we had about 4 offices around the world. It was relatively well known in the tech community, relatively well known in the in the US, kind of known in Europe, Middle East, not that well known in Asia. 2.5 years later, we're now hosting over 300 million daily participants on the platform. We're processing over 2 trillion annualized meeting minutes. We got some of the largest clients in the world, like Deloitte and HSBC and ExxonMobil, with literally like hundreds of thousands of people on the platform every day. Yeah. And then you've got government organizations around the planet. You got the British government. You got the House of Commons in Canada. You've got elements of the U.S. government. So it's and then over 100,000 schools in 25 countries. Are on the platform, and then you add on top of all of that. If that's not enough, it's like all the other social elements, right? So, yoga classes, violin classes, pottery classes, dance classes. Then you've got birthdays, you've got weddings, you've got church services, you've got bar mitzvahs.
Before Corona, I feel like there was a little bit more, space there. And now it's like synonymous with like Kleenex for tissue. I feel like Zoom is video call. It's just like, oh, we could meet or we could Zoom. It's just become a completely integrated word and experience in the human experience right now.
As Eric Yuan is our CEO and founder, when he founded the company, one of the premises was that video is the new voice. And now everybody gets it. Even, companies that, were an audio only company now finally understand video is the new voice. And it's, we're no longer a required platform or a required technology. We are mission critical. We've become like power. If I can't Zoom, it's kind of like, oh my God, what am I going to do? The world stops, right? The short answer to your question, Leah, how does it feel?
Yeah.
It's humbling. It's like, oh my God, it's so humbling. It's,
wow.
I was talking to one of our clients that are in the business of providing medical consultation to eye surgeons. And I could show you the video, but it's a little squeamish. But literally, you got sort of surgeons in Mongolia operating on a 6-year-old eyeball, enabling the kid to see, and there's consultants in Arizona who are advising the surgeons as they're operating on the eyeball. So we help people see.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. We help people see.
Wow. It's unbelievable. I don't think, I mean, I certainly couldn't have imagined it and wouldn't have imagined it. And I imagine that even people in Zoom, like yourself, probably couldn't have imagined that this was going to be. I mean, talk about watching the transition from needing to build a sense of urgency in order to, educate your market. It's like there is no urgency to create. It's absolutely expected now. Um, I mean, with that in mind, like, I guess I wonder for your role in particular, going through that transition from Zoom being an extremely successful and, like you said, in the tech or sales world, certainly a must have before Corona. But now that this company is sustaining, such a huge influx of new customers, and I'm sure that there's also pressure to keep up, the product and find new ways to make this the best option. You don't want to, get too comfortable. Um, what is that like for you? Because, as the CIO, your domain, I imagine, is really this digital experience. What's it like for you, for your employees? Like, how does that translate into what you're doing internally? And how does that translate externally in terms of the product?
Yeah, it's a great question. One of it sort of goes to the a phrase that my father used to say, which is, if you stand still, you're really going backwards because the rest of the world is moving forward. And Zoom was besides sort of being a video first platform, was founded on sort of 5 things. Ease of use. So that's the second point every time. It's like it just works. It's like reliability, incredible reliability, and you just touched on that, where sort of if it doesn't work, it's like the sky isn't going to fall. The sky does fall. So ease of use, reliability, innovation. We've been the first to market with a number of different capabilities, and whether it's sort of like the virtual background that I've got up now. So we've
That's
been the first
amazing.
to innovate. So innovation has always been sort of like really important to us. And then uh, ease of use, reliability, innovation, price, cost effective. I don't know if you guys, sort of buy coffee, but if you do, it's the price of a cup of coffee once a week.
Yeah.
And then, privacy and security, and we've raised the bar on security to, with our end-to-end encryption service, which will be out hopefully this month, if not next month. And that again is raising the bar, not just for ourselves, but we're raising it for the industry. Again, we've always been a leader, and we continue to lead. It's such a rich platform now, Zoom. It's and then the extensibility that we now have with over 600 apps in the Zoom app marketplace is really sort of taking that seamless and frictionless experience and making that even more so across multiple platforms with integrations into things like Salesforce and ServiceNow and Okta and Box and Dropbox and so on and so forth. So it's a journey, and it's we're not done yet.
Yeah. It's interesting you're bringing up the end to end encryption. I think because you were catapulted so far ahead of any competitors, you also were put on the stand a little bit and had to deal with security in a way that I'm assuming none of the other, video platforms needed to deal with because they did not have anywhere near the amount of, sudden users. So you became the leaders in a whole new level. And then now in front of everyone, you've had to deal with these unique, video communication security issues. I think really do think you guys have done a phenomenal job. I can imagine that, it just could have become messy and it didn't. You guys, I feel like through the press and through every reaction and every update, it's just like, hey guys, we're doing the best we can. We really want to make this safe and awesome for you. And like, thank you for hanging in there while we come up with solutions. And then you did. You've continued to just continue to roll out better and better,
Thank you.
security.
Being very transparent about the issues and being very, sort of humble. I mean, that's part of our culture too, is being humble. And whilst we, sort of we recognize how successful we've been for sure. I mean, you look at our Q2 earnings, 633 million.
I think that's what it said.
Yeah, sort of 350, big number, 355% year-on-year growth. I mean, yeah. So, but we're still a humble people. That's our nature, and we recognize we've done a lot, but there's more to do.
Wow. That's actually a good intro into another question I've wanted to ask. How do you feel like the values of the leadership at Zoom, yourself, the CEO, other people that are going to infuse their own values into the company? How do you see that? I mean, you just mentioned humility and being humble, so that's huge. How else would you say that affects the employee experience or what it's like to be part of
Yeah,
the Zoom team?
yeah. So one of the things that uh, we say is like, we don't think of our clients as clients. We think of our clients as partners. And so it's all about the client being successful. And, I reached out to one of our executive clients today, and, talking to the CIO this morning, he was like, so, what would you like to talk about? And it's like, well, I was asked to reach out to you because as an executive team, we like to reach out to our clients on a regular basis just to have a check-in, see how things are going. This is not a formal review. That's we have a separate process for doing the quarterly business review, but just to, get take a temperature check.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our DNA. That's who we are. It's we're not very not very showy, but we do what we do, and we try to do it extraordinarily well.
And do you think, do your employees, do the team feel that? Like, is the Zoom internally,
absolutely.
it's a close team, people feel supported?
Absolutely. This is part of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, this is woven into the fabric of Zoom.
Wow.
Yeah.
If I can ask on a technical side, does that translate also into what it's like, what the digital experience is like for Zoom, like for people on the Zoom team? Like, are your team members, is your organization really well equipped? Do you feel like this is also not something that you just offer to your customers, but that, that's also an internal value?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's, sort of, Eric is very generous with our employees, and we make sure that they have everything that they need to get their job done. Because the fact is, I'm sure Uzi, you'd agree, if your employees can't have a terrific experience, if it's hard for them to get their jobs done, then they're not going to do it very well. You're going to increase your turnover. You got a lot of waste going on and frustration, and so that's not a recipe for success.
I mean, it's so overused more than ever, but really more than ever right now. If you're, a knowledge worker, if you work in a company and you are, lucky enough to be able to continue doing your job at your computer, as if you were in the office, it's just astounding to me how functional we are right now. How, if this had happened 20 years ago, how many more people would not be able to be making a living right now? It's because this kind of, market of tool upon tool upon tool that we've evolved over time has created a situation for us where we can sit at home and we can go on as normal. We can really continue living. It's unbelievable to me. I think it's such a testament to, the positive side of technology when there's a lot of buzz about the negatives. I think in a way, Corona allowed us to all see, how much good these tools can do, and how we can positively affect our lives despite the disruptions and the changes that are, constantly coming our way.
Yeah, it's the myths of the past have been proven wrong. So
Hmm.
so there's two of them. So one is, sort of the notion of people working from home. That was never really condoned by many organizations. It's kind of like, yes, on a snow day in the Northeast, if you can work from home, great. Otherwise, come to the office, right? You have sort of storms and various other events that disrupt people's ability to get to the office if you can work from home. But people never condoned it, never supported it, didn't think it was effective.
Hmm.
Poof, gone. Oh my God. It has been proven factually in many cases that people are actually more productive working from home, not
Yeah.
because they're working longer hours, they're just more productive because they're not having all the constant interruptions of, hey, Leah, it's kind of like, I had a quick question for you. Oh, okay, yeah. And it's like, and then, coming in and say, Uzi, hey, you got time for a coffee? It's kind of, and all this sort of stuff. So you don't have that going on. The employees are actually happier because they're at home. It's like I'm at home here with my puppy sleeping at my feet. People, unfortunately, their kids are home from school, and that makes life difficult. But their kids will go back to school one day, so
Yeah.
that'll be better. So they're actually happier and more productive. And from an employer perspective, this is great too. Why? Well, from the they don't need more real estate to house all the employees now that social distancing has to be enforced. So having people work from home, I think this is going to continue. But the other massive recognition now is that I can hire people from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And guess what? I don't need to relocate them. And guess what? I don't even need a visa for them. When things could return to life before Corona, they won't.
Yeah.
A number of things are going to change. The amount of business travel. I mean, I used to be on 3 or 4 flights a week. Not happening.
Yeah.
Never again will I do 3 or 4 flights a week. I might do 3 or 4 flights a quarter, but I won't do 3 or 4 flights a week. It would be great to take a client out for dinner. I would love to do that. That would be nice. Doing those types of things for sure. Office environments are changing. I read about one company just built their new headquarters in Seattle. They put the building up for sale because they're going to create smaller satellite offices because they see
Makes
that
sense.
to be the future.
Yep.
So I don't think life will ever go back, Uzi, to the way it was. I think that people have realized that this is a new way of life. I think that, my last point is on this topic is that, no one would have wished COVID-19 ever. The amount of people that have died, the amount of people that have been ill, the stress, the unemployment, the economic effort, sort of consequences for way too many people around the planet, disruptions to their personal and professional lives is astounding. That being said, many people believe that what coronavirus has done is it has accelerated things that were inevitable. Retail has changed forever. The way we connect and communicate personally and professionally has changed forever. The way we work. Priorities have changed forever.
Yep.
Personal priorities. It's like I've been thinking, sort of like about, what am I doing? It's like, and what was I doing? I remember, when we made the decision to get the dog, it's kind of like, well, if you're going to go back to flying 3 or 4 times a week, make sure you get a service dog because what are you going to do? It's like, but but I'm not going to do that. It's a person.
You're
It's
not
like
going to.
I'm not going to. It's like
Exactly.
I've changed the way I've changed my life. I've changed my diet.
Yes.
I've changed my exercise routine, and I'm happier because of all these things.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I also would say I've had a similar thing. I mean, I moved during Corona period, during the lockdown, almost right after. And it was the same thing. It was like, if I move, then I have to be prepared for a really big commute when we go back. And it was just this kind of, I don't know, reminder of what life is about, of like actually doing what makes you happier and being able to be more present. And like, if that's ever the situation again, I'll figure it out. But I also can't really see us going back to being, in an office 9 hours a day once humanity has tasted what it's like to have a much healthier balance.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Yeah,
Exactly.
and I think also technically, I think also with technology and with what the tools we've been using, now that people know what it's like to use video call, to use Zoom, as much as they do in their life, and to not have to stop and drive somewhere, or pay $1 million on parking to go get downtown, and that they can have that same experience. And especially as you continue to enhance the value that you're delivering with Zoom, I don't see everyone wanting to go back. I think I do miss in person uh interactions. I miss them at the end of a day or a week. Even though I've been talking to people all week, I still do crave seeing someone in
yeah.
real life.
And
So
shaking someone's hand.
yeah, and that, like, there's some like
Grabbing coffee together.
Yeah.
yeah, there's I think there's some like biological experience that you still need, and I'm sure Zoom and no one is advocating a life of it, being in your own room on a screen forever. But it's the fact that I think we realize some experiences can be just as positive and rich through, video or online or whatever it is, if not even more. You can get more sometimes out of being able to do the same thing at your computer. Certainly with work. Certainly with work. The downsides, I think, of a full-time office life, I think, were really taxing. And I think that we were all just running so fast that we didn't really have any opportunity to reflect. And
You are 200% right. It's like I remember the second week of being grounded. I've been grounded now for 28 weeks. So I remember the second week of grounded. I was talking to someone and I said, like, on March the 1st, somebody put up a big stop sign and said, "Harry, stop," because I was due to fly to San Francisco on March the 1st, and the event I was going to was canceled because of COVID-19. And I was thinking, do I fly to California anyway? I was going to go to the San Jose office, and I thought, I'll just use Zoom. It's like, I don't need to fly to see the people. And then I did exactly that. I reflected on my life, and I said, Jesus, what am I doing? It's not what am I doing? It's like, what have I been doing?
what have I been doing?
What
How have
have
I
I
been
been?
doing
How
this?
it's like it's crazy what I was doing. Getting home at 11 o'clock at night so I can sort of hit the sack, empty the dirty laundry, put new laundry in, and get back up at 6 a.m. to go get another flight. I mean, like, who does things like that? I mean, I used to. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think once our quality of life increases, we're not going to go back. I do believe that this is part of the evolution, both of work and of the human experience. I
I
think
agree.
technology is deeply woven into it because of where we were at with digital transformation when COVID hit. And definitely what you said about this being the catalyst for things that were going to happen. I think we maybe press fast forward on 50 years, like a lot of time. Like, we really moved. And I don't think there's going to be going back in the way that we're imagining going back. I don't think we're ever going back. I think I think we've moved, I think we've evolved.
Yeah, we moved to a new paradigm. Yeah.
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 Harry, thank you so much. I see that our time is over. I'm just enjoying this conversation so much. It's been so lovely. Thank you. Welcome to the hot seat. Now let's get a little more personal with the hot seat questions. If you could take a digital device or your pet with you for the weekend, which would it be and why?
Take the dog in a heartbeat.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So much more fun and kind of, I do like disconnecting at times. I think it psychologically makes me feel better. I think mentally it makes me feel better. I think it's, sort of being constantly tethered to a digital device where everybody expects you to instantly react, instantly respond, is an appalling state of affairs.
Yes, totally agree.
Not everything's a crisis.
Yeah, there's definitely value to unwinding and unplugging. All right. What is one goal that you have for your organization, big or small, this upcoming year?
I think the big goal, the big objective for Zoom in the coming year would be to maintain our leadership position, maintain our innovation, yes, I think it's maintain our leadership position, maintain the innovation that we've been known for past, and constantly continue to differentiate ourselves from our peers. Sort of the objective of what Zoom is all about is how can we make virtual meetings better than in-person meetings.
Yeah.
A lot of people say they don't like the screens. I don't know. It's kind of like this looks pretty good to me. It's a great experience. I can see you. I can hear you. Yes, it's nicer when you can sort of shake hands. But even if we're in the same room, we couldn't even do that right now.
Right. In a way, there's more intimacy right now. Some ways. In a way, it's more intimate right now to talk to someone on video because you're not so preoccupied by all of the corona restrictions and regulations around being with someone in person.
Yeah, so if we were in a room, this is how we be, right? It's kind of like, this is,
It's dehumanizing. It's very
strange. Yeah.
It's very odd to communicate with masks on. It's very uncomfortable. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that's great. All right, last one. What is one important skill for the aspiring IT leader out there to work on right now? A skill that they could hone.
I think that there's. Can I give a two-part answer to that?
Yes.
Okay. So I think there's two skills. I think that emotional intelligence is critical in any leader. It doesn't have to be an IT leader. I think that's super critical. Sort of being able to empathize with people, understand where they're coming from, understand their perspectives. I think that's super important. And the second is given the world we're now living in and the environment that we're living in, I think learning how to manage a virtual team is dramatically different to managing a in-person team. I think that's a skill that people have to learn how to do that. And my recommendation there would be, don't try managing the virtual team like you did when everybody was in the office. It's kind of like, think it through. It's different. Nothing's the same. Take a white sheet of paper. Think from it. Think through it from the beginning to the end.
Want to hear from more top leaders? All of season 1 is available now. This is Digital Adoption.